Greetings, everyone. My topic is manage communication. First, I'm gonna introduce myself. So I'm Junard Matitu, a registered mechanical engineer, a graduate of BS in mechanical engineering from the Holy Angel University. So I'm a part-time faculty member under the mechanical engineering department of Holy Angel University, former science research specialist under the project of Severe Weather Amphibious Navigator or SWAN project from the DOST Grants in AIDS programs or DOST Region 3. And now, full-time project technical staff in DNR, Environmental Management Bureau, Region 3. And I'm establishing an engineering services, which is the JBM Engineering Services, specialization in HVAC, fire protection, LPG system, etc. Okay, so let's proceed. Topic, manage communications. So manage communications is the process of ensuring timely and appropriate collection, creation, distribution, storage, retrieval, management, monitoring, and the ultimate disposition of the project information. So the key benefit of this process is that it enables an efficient and effective information flow between the project team and the stakeholders. So this process is performed throughout the project. So this is important because mas nagiging updated lahat ng nasa team and ng mga project leaders or stakeholders. So mas nagiging open yung mga information na kailangan natin para mas maging efficient pa yung flow ng project natin. Okay? So dito nagsa-start yung pag-manage natin ng communication, which is the data flow diagram. So nagsa-start siya sa project management plan. So under the project management plan, nandiyan yung resource management plan, communications management plan, stakeholders engagement plan. Then project documents. So dito pumapasok yung mga change log, issue log, lessons learned register, quality report, risk report, stakeholder register. Then meron tayong monitor and control project work. Okay, which is dito naman is yung mga work performance reports natin. Then enterprise or organization. So enterprise under dito is yung environmental factors natin and yung organizational process assets. And then dun siya magpo-proceed dun sa management or manage communications, which is dadaan tayo sa project communications, lead to project documents. Okay, then papasok dito yung project documents natin, updates ng issue log, lessons learned register, project schedule, risk register, and stakeholders register. Okay, then next is yung papunta naman sa project management plan, okay, communication management plan, and stakeholders engagement plan. And then last is yung enterprise organization, na yung organizational process, assets, and updates natin. Okay? Next slide. So, this process goes beyond the distribution of relevant information and seeks to ensure that the information being communicated to project stakeholders has been appropriately generated and formatted and received by the intended audience. So it also provides opportunities for stakeholders to make requests for further information, clarification, and discussion. So techniques and considerations for effective communication management. Okay, so dito parang mas na-elaborate natin yung or mas masasabi natin yung mga dapat natin mga kailangan natin. Okay, so and then dapat syempre nga properly generated and formatted siya. So para uniform yung nagiging flow ng communication natin. Okay. So first is yung sender-receiver models, incorporating feedback loops to provide opportunities for interaction, participation, and remove barriers to effective communication. So para mas nagiging open tayo na makipag-interaction or participate dun sa communication or feedback para interaction, participation para dun sa project. Okay? Then, second is the choice of media, decisions about application of communication artifacts to meet specific project needs, such as when to communicate in writing versus orally, when to prepare an informal memo versus a formal report, and when to use push or pull options, and the choice of appropriate technology. So dito malalaman natin if kailan ka kailangan mag-communicate in papers or in actual. Okay? So yung mga proper dapat na pag-usapan in actual or in papers lang. So para mas malinaw yung communication, okay, para sa project. Writing style, appropriate use of active versus passive voice, sentence structures, and word of choice or word choice. Okay? So dito, malaman natin kasi mas mapapadali natin yung communication if active voice yung ginagamit natin. And then, yung sentence structure natin is direct to the point. Okay? Mas pinapaiksi natin yung gusto nating sabihin, mas naging malinaw sa kausap natin. Siyempre, yung word choice mo din, if paano mo siya sasabihin dun sa kausap mo. Then meeting management. Okay. So preparing an agenda, inviting essential participants, and ensuring they attend, dealing with conflicts within the meeting or resulting from inadequate follow-up of minutes and actions or attendance of wrong people. So dito, piniprepare mo na yung lahat na kailangan pag-usapan for the project para walang nakakalimutan or nalalampasan. And then, syempre, make sure na i-invite lahat ng mga essential participants na na kailangan or kasama dun sa project or dun sa pag-uusapan para at least lahat nagiging na-update and nai-inform. Then presentations, awareness of the impact of body language and design of visual aids. Okay? So dito, para nagiging mas interesting yung presentation, kailangan meron kang alam mo paano mo i-ano yung body language mo and meron silang visuals na nakikita dun sa presentation mo. Next, facilitation. Building consensus and overcoming obstacles such as difficult group dynamics and maintaining interest and enthusiasm among group members. Okay? So dito, kailangan makuha mo yung attention nila. So meron tayong iba-ibang pwedeng gawin na para mas hindi nagkakaroon ng difficulties or para ma-maintain natin yung interest, okay, ang audience natin. Okay, so pwede mong daanin sa icebreakers or sa pananalita mo or sa magiging action mo. Okay. And then active listening. So listening actively involves acknowledging, clarifying, and confirming, understanding, and removing barriers that adversely affect comprehension. So dito, kailangan maging active listener ka. Kasi if you're not active and then someone is discussing, parang ang nangyayari is nagkakaroon ng misunderstanding, lalo na if project pinag-uusapan. Konting misunderstanding, nagkakaroon tayo ng overhead, ganun. So, or nagkakaroon tayo ng mga pagkakamali para sa project. So here is the management communication inputs. Okay. So proceeding tayo sa project management plan. So without a project plan leaves you in danger of overrunning available resources and failing to achieve the client's goals. So a project plan ensures all stakeholders share the same vision, sets measurable goals for your project, establishes solid communication among team members and stakeholders, and serves as a foundation for project transparency. So open yung wala tayong pinagdududahan na pwedeng pagkakamali or at least nagiging open yung communication on understanding about the project. Okay. So without this, you're setting yourself and your team up for project failure. Okay? So first to consider is yung resource management plan. The resource management plan describes the communications that are needed for management of team or physical resources. Focus lang muna dun sa kung anong meron yung team. Okay? Then, communications management plan. Communications management plan describes how project communications will be planned, structured, monitored, and controlled. Dito na yung magiging flow ng project natin. So, ayan. Then stakeholder engagement plan. The stakeholder engagement plan describes how stakeholders will be engaged through appropriate communication strategies. So mas mapapatulong para mas makapag-add sila kung ano yung pwedeng mas maganda pang gawin sa project. The next for the managed communication inputs is the project documents. So project documents that can be considered as inputs for this process is change log. Okay. The change log is used to communicate changes and approve deferred and rejected change requests to the impacted stakeholders. Dito, parang nagkakaroon lang tayo ng flow or process paano yung paano umiikot yung mga documents natin. Then issue log, information about issues is communicated to impacted stakeholders. Okay? So importante yan, at least nalalaman ng mga stakeholders yung mga issues na kailangan din pag-usapan. Lesson learned register. Lesson learned earlier in the project with regard to managing communications can be applied to later phases in the project to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of communications and the communication process. So dito, at least na-share if na ano na kagad, naiiwasan na ng iba if ano yung dapat or natututunan. Okay. Quality report. Information in the quality report includes quality issues, project and product improvements, and process improvements. This information is forwarded to those who can take corrective actions in order to achieve the project quality expectation. So dito, detailed report. Okay? So para at least kumpleto kapag binasa mga different reports like progress report or ano pa yung mga kailangan improvement for the project. Then risk report. The risk report presents information on sources of overall project risk together with summary information on identified individual project risk. Okay, so this information is communicated to risk owners and other impacted stakeholders. Okay, para at least nalalaman nila yung mga risk and ano yung mga dapat gawin para maiwasan. Stakeholder register. The stakeholder register identifies the individuals, groups, or organizations that will need various types of information. Okay, so another input is yung work performance reports. So work performance reports are circulated to the project stakeholders through this process as defined in the communication management plan. Examples of work performance reports include the status report and progress report. So dito parang nagkakaroon tayo ng time to time na report para nalalaman yung kung ano yung progress mo dun sa project. Then, based sa mga progress reports na yan, okay, or status reports, nalalaman natin if pasok pa ba tayo dun sa plan natin na date na matapos, no, Gantt chart, or possible din, pwede natin makita dyan if may mga mali ba dun sa project or need pang baguhin para at least ma-improve pa yung project natin. Then, enterprise environmental factors. Okay, so these are the environmental factors natin: organizational culture, political climate, and governance framework. Okay, then personal administration policies, stakeholder risk thresholds, established communication channels, tools, and systems. Okay, global, regional, or local trends and practices or habits. And lastly is the geographic distribution of facilities and resource. Okay, so another input, organizational process assets. Okay, so the organizational process assets that can influence this process is the corporate policies and procedures for social media, ethics, security. Siyempre, iniwasan yung mga confidential na information is iniiwasan na makalat. So, ito yun din yung naglilimit sa atin for communicating with others. Siyempre, kailangan malaman din natin if ano lang yung dapat na ito lang yung nakakaalam. Ganun. Then, corporate policies and procedures for issue, risk, change, and data management. Okay. Organizational communication requirements, standards, guidelines for development, exchange, storage, and retrieval of information. Okay. So parang kahandaan database. Historical information from previous projects, including the lessons learned repository. Okay. So, ito yung mga assets natin na napaka-importante, at least lahat inform, and then nalalaman yung if may kailangan information, madaling ma-retrieve. Okay. Then, next is the managed communications, tools, and techniques. So dito mo ma-check if ano ba yung mga dapat mong gawin yung tools and techniques for para ma-improve yung communication and para ma-manage siyang mabuti. Communication technology, so factors that influence the technology include whether the team is co-located, confidentiality of any information that needs to be shared, resources available to the team members, and how the organization's culture influences the way in which meeting and discussions are normally conducted. Okay, so ito yung available or yung capacity na communication technology ng isang project. Okay, so dito tayo nag-base if gaano ba ka-efficient yung communication sa isang project. Okay. And then communication methods. The choice of communication method should allow flexibility in the event that the membership of the stakeholders community changes or their needs and expectation change. Okay. So dito we keep habang paano sa future mas nagiging flexible yung communication natin. So dito wala naman nagiging problem. So meron ng social media, meron na yung Zoom. Okay? So mas napapadali yung methods natin in communication. Okay, the next one for tools and techniques is communication skills. Okay, so communication techniques that can be used for this process is communication competence, combination of tailored communication skills that considers factors such as clarity of the purpose in key messages, okay, effective relationship, and information sharing and leadership behaviors. Okay, for this, yun nga, if ano yung purpose mo, meron kang mga key messages para mas madaling ma-absorb ng mga kausap mo or yung audience mo or yung sa team. Okay, then pagpili ng mga words, okay, para at least hindi sila parang nahihirapan mag-absorb ng information and then tumatatak agad sa kanila. Then feedback. Feedback is information about reactions to communications, a deliverable or situation. Feedback supports interactive communication between the project manager, team, and all other project stakeholders. Example include coaching, mentoring, and negotiating. So nagiging active ang communication kasi may interaction na nangyayari, okay, for coaching, mentoring, and negotiating. And it improves the communication skills for the team. The nonverbal examples of nonverbal communication include appropriate body language to transmit meaning through gestures, tone of voice, and facial expression. So mirroring and eye contact are also important techniques. The team members should be aware of how they are expressing themselves, both through what they say and what they don't say. Okay. So dito parang mas nagiging observant ka, okay, if nawawala na ba yung interest ng mga kausap mo, ganyan. So you can use or include appropriate body language, okay? Through gestures or tone of voice. Bigla kang magtaas ng boses para nagugulat, nakukuha attention, facial expression para at least mag-a-agree sila doon sa sinasabi mo, kapani-paniwala ka. Or hindi naman sila parang manloloko pero parang mas appealing sa kanila na okay yung sinasabi mo. Then, yung eye contact, which is important din. So, para at least alam mo na na-absorb nila yung sinasabi mo. Okay? Okay. Another communication skills is for presentations. Presentation is the formal delivery of information and or documentation. Clear and effective presentations of project information to relevant stakeholders can include but are not limited to progress reports and information updates to stakeholders. Okay, so which is laging kailangan. Okay, kasi yung mga stakeholders natin is laging humihingi yan ng updates or gusto nila lagi silang nababalitaan dun sa process or progress na nung project. Background information to support decision making. Okay? And yun, dapat meron kang mga basis for kung ano man yung report na ginawa mo, meron ka dapat basis, okay, for improvement like that. Dapat kailangan meron kang research. Bakit ka nag-i-improve? Okay? Bakit ano yung justification mo para i-improve yung meron kang i-improve para dun sa project. So, gano'n. And then, general information about the project and its objectives for the purposes of raising the profile of the work of the project and the team. And lastly, specific information aimed at increasing understanding and support of the work and objectives of the project. Okay, and then yun, it's specific information para at least hindi general yung nasasabi mo and mas nai-increase yung pag-iintindi ng team or yung kausap, okay? Para at least yung mga pinag-uusapan is or ginagawa is papunta talaga dun sa objectives ng project. Then presentations will be successful when the content and delivery take the following into account, like the audience, their expectations and needs, or pwede din the needs and objectives of the project and project team. Kasi dun naman, mas nagiging interested yung team if direct ka dun sa objectives or yung mga dapat gawin or expectation nila. Okay, so another tool and technique, Project Management Information System or yung PMIS. First, Project Management Information System can ensure that stakeholders can easily retrieve the information they need in a timely way. So project information is managed and distributed using a variety of tools, including electronic project management tools. So project management software, meeting and virtual office support software, web interfaces, specialized project portals, and dashboards, and collaborative work management tools. So nag-aaral ka ng platform, mas maganda, at least dun na lang nag-uusap na lesson yung parang time na ginagamit if kailangan pang ipasa-pasa ng actual yung mga documents or reports. So here, mas napapadali yung meeting, virtual reports, ganun. Okay? So yun. Electronic communications management. Ito naman, papasok yung email, fax, and voicemail, audio, video, and web conferencing, and websites and web publishing. The next is social media management, so websites and web publishing, and blogs and application, which offer the opportunity to engage with stakeholders and form online communities. Okay. Next is project reporting. Project reporting is the act of collecting and distributing project information. Project formation is distributed to many groups of stakeholders and should be adopted, okay, to provide information at an appropriate level, format, um, and detail for each type of stakeholder. So the format may range from a simple communication to more elaborate custom reports and presentation. So information may be prepared regularly or an exception basis. So while work performance reports are the output of the monitor and control project work process, this process develops HOC reports, okay, project presentations, blogs, and other types of communication about the project. Okay. So, kasi pag may project report, mas napapadali na malaman if ano yung mga information na kailangan ikalat. Next is the interpersonal and team skills. Okay. So interpersonal and team skills that can be used for this process include, but are not limited to, active listening. Okay. Techniques of active listening involve acknowledging, clarifying, and confirming, understanding, and removing barriers that adversely affect comprehension. Okay. So, ayun nga, kailangan focus lang dun sa kailangan information or dun sa speaker. Conflict management, the process by which disputes are resolved, where negative results are minimized and positive results are prioritized. Kasi yun yung mas kailangan natin na details, yung positive results natin. Then, sa conflict management, with properly managed conflict, an organization is able to minimize interpersonal issues. Okay? So, mas nalilesen, then enhance client satisfaction, and produce better business outcomes, which is yun naman yung gusto natin or isa ding importante sa isang project. Okay? Then next is yung cultural awareness. Okay? All about recognizing and understanding that we all have different values shaped by our diverse cultural backgrounds. So what we consider to be normal behavior in one country can be entirely different in another. So by being respectful of others and accepting people's opinions, rights, and feelings, even when they are different to our own. So tinatansya din natin sila. So we allow ourselves to develop more successful personal and professional relationship and benefit from cultural diversity. And mas nagiging kang mas gumagaling kang mag-communicate by the experience of respecting others' culture. Yeah. Okay. That is meeting management. So meeting management is taking steps to ensure meet their intended objectives effectively and efficient. So the following steps should be used for meeting planning. First is to prepare and distribute the agenda stating the objectives of the meeting. Next is to ensure that the meeting start and finish at the published time. Okay? Kasi usually pag ganito, dahil na if merong mga stakeholders, ganyan, may mga VIPs, okay? May mga head. So meron mga iba't ibang meeting yan from time to time. Okay, so kailangan para hindi masira yung pag-facilitate mo dun sa meeting. Kailangan start mo siya on time and tapusin mo siya on time. Okay, then ensure the appropriate participants are invited and attend. Okay, kailangan talagang invite if pwede, personal pass nila i-invite para at least mag-attend talaga sila. And then, syempre, depende dun sa schedule. Kailangan minimit mo every participant yung schedule nila. Para at least, mas nakukumpleto, mas maganda. And mas madidiscuss na maigay yung topic. Okay? Stay on topic. Next. Yun nga. Kasi pag lumalayo ka na sa topic, okay? Ang nangyayari is parang nagugulo yung meeting. So nawawala yung focus dun sa topic na kailangan lang or the project. The next is to manage expectations, issues, and conflicts during the meeting. Okay? Then record all actions and those who have been allocated the responsibility for completing the action. Minutes, may recorded meetings. Ayan. Okay. Another is networking. Networking is interacting with others to exchange information and develop contacts. Networks provide project managers and their teams with access to informal organizations to solve problems, influence actions of their stakeholders, and increase stakeholder support for the work and outcomes of the project, thus improving performance. Okay? Siyempre, mas maganda yung network mo, okay, or networking mo, mas na-increase yung support mo for the project. Political awareness. Political awareness assists the project manager in engaging stakeholders appropriately to maintain their support throughout the project. Then, meetings. So meeting supports or support the actions defined in communication strategy and communications plan. And for the managed communications outputs, project communications artifacts may include but are not limited to performance reports, deliverable status, schedule progress, cost incurred presentation, and other information required by stakeholders. Okay, the next, project management plan updates. Any change to the project management plan goes through the organization's change control process via a change request. So components of the project management plan that may be updated as a result of carrying out this process. Okay, first is your communications management plan. When changes are made to the project communications project or approach as a result of this process, these changes are reflected in the project communication plan. Okay, para at least updated. And then stakeholder engagement plan, stakeholder communication requirements, and agreed upon communication strategies are updated as a result of this process. Then issue log. The issue log is updated to reflect any communication issues on the project or how any communications have been used to impact active issues. Lesson learned register. The lesson learned register is updated with information on challenges encountered and how they could have been avoided, as well as approaches that work well and what did not work excuse me, well for managing communication. Then project schedule, okay? Kailangan natin para na-follow yung activities and yung papunta dun sa target time. The project schedule may be updated to reflect the status of communication activities. Risk register. The risk register is updated to capture risks associated with managing communications. Stakeholder register. The stakeholder register can be updated to include information regarding communications active with project stakeholders. Okay. So for the topic managed communications, that's all. And thank you.